Hi Taurus, welcome to your fortnightly reading with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant signs. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Taurus, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three so that you get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you and also which part of you I resonate with most as a reader. If you are a new subby, thank you so much for being here, and if you are a continued subby, Rafi loves you. If you're just passing by, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and this resonates, hit that subscribe button. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you in your path to your highest vibrational good. So, for your cross purposes, what is getting in the way? Where are the challenges and where may they show up for you over the course of this next 2 weeks? All right, so for you, my dear Taurus, on the macrocosmic level, you have the Temperance card. So the Temperance card is very much about alignment, and it's actually a very spiritual vibration, this card, but it can sometimes suggest that there is like because it's the balancing energy, it can be like a seesaw. I wouldn't be surprised if over this next fortnight you're drawn into something that you kind of don't want to be a part of. It almost suggests to me that there's like an argument happening between friends, between family members, etc. There's something going on and it's like you're being pulled into it because it's a vortex of kind of really heavy or negative energy. I would be mindful about that, and obviously as best as you can, because the thing is we're talking about the macrocosmic here, so it's like stuff that you might not necessarily be able to circumnavigate like sort of completely, but now that you've got a heads up, when you see something brewing, you can kind of say, okay, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna stay out of that one. On a microcosmic level, where might you be getting in your own way with those cross purposes? You have the Queen of Wands. So a Sagittarius woman may very well feature for you over the course of this next fortnight. And this may be somebody that you have a problem, a challenge or an issue with. Another way that this potentially shows up, because the Queen of Wands is very much about boundaries. So this might be that somebody tries to overstep your boundaries and maybe you draw a line. It may also be that you do this in anticipation of something and you end up kind of damaging a friendship, etc. Just watch out for this. Sometimes when we have those kinds of knee-jerk reactions, it's very often because there's some kind of hidden trauma or challenge or issue that we've been through that is running a script in the background, right? So just be mindful of that. All right, for your actions and interactions with the world at large, you've got the King of Swords, okay, with the Eight of Swords, okay, and the Three of Wands. There's some kind of paperwork or documentation that does need to be looked at over this fortnight, and it looks like it's potentially been something that's been coming up or going on for a while. You could find that this, it's almost like this is, when something comes up and you're like, yeah, I'm going to get around to that, and then a whole bunch of things just kind of get in the way of it. It feels like that to me. There's almost like a sense here that there's some kind of paperwork, documentation, something that you've been trying to get wrapped up for a good while so that you can start moving forward will now sort of demand attention and may actually go ahead. The other thing with this as well, because it's the Three of Wands with the Eight of Swords, this could be an idea that you have where you've needed to get planning permission, maybe you needed a permit, maybe you needed a license to practice or whatever it might be. This is where you finally get your hands on whatever it is that you needed in order to push this thing forward. The other thing here as well, but for some of you, you may be connecting to an air sign person, an Aquarius, Gemini or Libra, and this with the Eight of Swords does suggest this is potentially a project that could take some time, but with the Three of Wands as the final outcome for this part of it, it does suggest that it is a worthy investment of your time. For your career and communications, you've got the Seven of Wands, okay, so you're with the, nice, with the Wheel of Fortune, okay, and the King of Pentacles. So what do we see here? Two kings. Two kings represents minor council. So when it comes to the career, or the career, the profession, the academics over this next fortnight, there's something here that you are fighting for, but it's like by speaking up or really kind of demanding a certain thing to be a certain way, that is what leads to your success. It's going to be the bold thing, right? Now, usually Taurus, doesn't like drama, they don't like difficult, they don't, you know, Taurus is the original sort of easy bear. They like things kind of smooth, easy, calm, no drama, you know, nothing that's too sort of ugly. Your Venus ruled after all. But this kind of suggests that in order to succeed in work, business, profession, academics, etc., you are going to need to, you know, Taurus isn't shy of hard work. That's not what I'm saying here. But you are going to need to roll up your sleeves and get in the dirt over this fortnight, right? If you want the success, if you want the, you know, hike in money, if you want, you know, all of that, if you want the advancement in career, you are going to have to demonstrate a level of grit, and you are going to have to kick up a bit of a fuss. So this is one of those times where you're going to have to find a way to go against your own nature. For those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, I love this for you, because it means that by voicing potentially an unpopular opinion, you are going to show yourself to be leagues and bounds ahead of the people that you are, you know, your peers. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, this could be you going toe to toe with a boss. Don't get me wrong, obviously, you know, there's a hierarchy, so, you know, we don't want to be out here trying to get our asses fired, but at the same time, it looks like a lot of you may have a harsh, not a harsh conversation, but you're going to fight for something when it comes to your boss. You're digging your heels in this fortnight, and it's almost like by doing so, you actually earn kudos and respect. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, again, whatever it is that you're doing in the background or you're working on potentially with or alongside another person, maybe it takes you a little bit longer than you had hoped, but actually this could be a very lucrative idea or way of pushing something forward. So I would stick with it. All right. Now, when it comes to those of you that are retired and no longer working, this looks like a conversation around finances. So you could be sort of saying to somebody, look, you know what, you need to get your bag together, or actually, you know what, the way that you're utilizing money or the way that you're leaning on me for money is not on. So it will be interesting to see sort of how that develops. For your love and relations, you've got the Two of Cups, lovely, with the Sun card. Oh my gosh, right? And the Ace of Pentacles. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, that is pregnancy. I'm just going to tell you straight up. That, if there were ever any cards, I mean, there's a few combinations actually, but this one, that is pregnancy. So if you're trying to conceive, if you're wanting a baby, etc., this is baby making energy extraordinaire. If you are single, this is you connecting to and aligning with somebody that you are absolutely smitten with and who really sees your value and your worth. I mean, you really couldn't get better cards for your relationship sector. This is bright, it's wonderful. There's also potentially as well very good news coming for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments. There's very good news coming in around your partner's finances, money, and or resources as well. So, I mean, just wow. For your money and materials, you've got the Devil card, okay, with the Queen of Pentacles. So a Capricorn woman will very much feature for you over the course of this next fortnight, and with the Four of Swords. So when it comes to finances, you're going to really be tempted, especially if, you know, there's this boost to the partner's finances. You might be really tempted to splash the cash. You're being urged not to. All right, spend money on things that you need, absolutely. Maybe even think about you know, ways that you can use the funds that are available to you. But remember, your ruling planet Venus is currently retrograde, so, you know, big ticket items and big spendages is probably not the best time for it. If you can't get around it and it's something that's a necessity, that's a different story. But if this is just something because it's like, oh, you know what, I love it, I want it, it's luxurious, blah 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 blah, it's not going to cut it. All right, your value system is shifting at this moment in time in a really big way, and when Venus does finally go direct, you will see that probably the big things that you've purchased at this time, especially if they're, you know, just wants versus needs, or they're sort of like, you know, big ticket luxury items, you might look at it and think, oh gosh, you know, I don't really know why I bought this. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, this is very much about looking after yourself, rest, recuperation, specifically for those of you that have had problems with backs, knees, you know, in fact, the skeleton in general. If you've had any problems like that over the last 4 months, I would take this fortnight to really rest and recuperate, look after your physical body. And then when it comes to your home and environment sector, there's somewhere here where you're planning to take a step backward in some way, shape or form. And I gotta be honest with you, because it comes up with the devil card, this is you wanting to go back to an old habit or pattern or way of being. And if you do so, the chances, I mean, the Four of Swords is urging you to take a beat before you tread memory lane. Just because of that Venus retrograde that is quite prominent in the sky at the moment, I wonder, it's like you could go back down a certain route, and then when you do, Venus finally goes direct, you may feel sort of like, oh, you know what, this was not the right move for me. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic fortnight. Let me know in the comments how it shapes out. Take care, and I'll see you soon.